Hey Retrospect, hope you're well. You got spirit, hey Ben, hey. Yeah guys, so I'm doing a live tonight because I've not had a chance to go out and do a video, one of my explore videos. There's a few things I want to talk to you about that have happened recently, so I thought tonight would be a great night to do a bit of a live session with you guys and chat. Just trying to get my laptop on because I want to stick some music on while I'm talking, if possible. I've tried to set the mood a little bit as well. I've got some candles in the background, just lit a candle and stuff. So, hey Paul, hope you're well, buddy. I'm just gonna lift this 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. 1 second. I'll be with you in 1 minute. Just gonna lift my laptop. There we are. Oh, come on, laptop. That's better. Yeah, so a few nights ago, well, let's go back to the very beginning. Sorry, my laptop's just playing up. A few weeks ago, let's say, I came upstairs to find something. Carrie told me to come upstairs and pick something up off the floor. Come upstairs, bent down to pick up the item off the floor, and I saw something like a dark object or whatever it was fly by in the corner of my eye. Now obviously bending down, standing up so quick, I put it down to just that, me bending down and standing up too quick. Never said nothing of it. This black object going across the landing, it actually came from the bathroom and through next door's wall. But again, I didn't want to think it was anything, just never mentioned it. Then we had my mum stay over. My mum came to visit and she stayed over, never mentioned anything to my mum about what I'd seen, or Carrie for that matter, at this point. And at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, my mum comes into the living room where I was staying, because I'd put the camp bed out in the living room for myself. And my mum comes through and says that she just felt somebody tugging on a pillow, and woke her up. She said that she heard breathing, like heavy breathing, and then someone had pulled on a pillow, and thought it was maybe one of the kids that had got up. And so she started to freak me out. I never mentioned, like I said, at any point that I'd seen this thing a few weeks before. But obviously that's in the back of my head when she's saying this to me. And so then I started to start freaking out myself. And then other things started to happen. So I told Carrie about this, about what my mum had said, and about what I'd experienced on the landing. And then Sophie starts waking up through the night. That's Carrie's little girl, starts waking up through the night, talking in her sleep. When my kids stay over, they're always waking up through the night. And they're never happy dreams that these kids are having. It's always, they're always spooked about something or whatever. So there's just little things like that. Then we heard banging inside the house. There's been times when I've fallen asleep on the sofa and Carrie's gone out to the shop, and I've woken up and thought that she's come back in the house. I've been adamant that I've heard the front door go and Carrie shouting upstairs, "I'm back." When I go downstairs, there's nobody there, and she knows nothing about what I'm on about. And vice versa. So when I go out camping and Carrie don't come along with me, she said that she's heard people walking around in the house thinking that I've come back. I maybe forgot my phone or forgot some camping stuff, and I've come back in the house. And obviously when she's gone around looking for me, I'm not there, I've actually gone camping. So it's a very, very creepy house. I've got some footage actually. Me and Carrie stayed up late the other night chatting about things in the house that's happened, and trying to come up with, how does the dog react? Well, this is the thing, how does the dog react? So this is another major thing of why I'm starting to believe that it may be haunted. So Tallulah she just got up the other night. She normally sleeps at the end of our bed, in her dog bed. And she gets up the other night and jumps up the little step onto the landing and goes straight over to where Sophie's bedroom is. And Sophie's bedroom door is cracked, so we can just listen out whether she wakes up or not. And Tallulah goes right up to the crack of the door and sticks her nose in and just basically, tail is up in the air, doesn't move, and just stays there for ages. And I'm going, Tallulah, come on. Trying to get her away from Sophie's door so she don't wake Sophie up. And normally, as soon as you say Tallulah, she just turns around and acknowledges you. But this time she just stayed with the nose wedged in the crack of the door, sniffing in Sophie's bedroom. So I don't know She started sleeping on the landing now. She doesn't sleep in the bedroom. Just strange things. Just got a notification. Hey, Unicorn Avenger. Just want to get this. 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. I'm just gonna lift my laptop. It won't be 1 second. I've just realised that I've got the light set to red in the living room. People outside are going to be thinking this is a brothel. That would be funny. I'm here for the showing. Pardon? The showing? Just gonna see if I can put this on. I maybe should change that light now, actually. I've said that. Come on, why won't you work? I'm trying to get my laptop, my MacBook, to go on the big screen. Normally when you close the lid of your MacBook, you can still use the monitor, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So yeah, lots of strange things going on. Talking of strange, has anybody seen or has anybody been watching Stranger Things? That's become really fascinating. Something I was telling Carrie about the other night is that Stranger Things is actually based on somewhat real life events. Not everything, obviously. They've got to glorify some things to make it interesting for the viewers, but it is actually taken from very close to real life happenings. So I think it was called Project Majestic or something like that. I may be wrong. I grew up in a haunted house. I don't really tell people about it because Stranger Things stuff. Yeah, I also grew up in a haunted house as well, and that's why I don't want this house to be haunted. This is where it gets really creepy. So this will all come out in the footage that I release in the next video, and you're gonna have to forgive me. I will do a disclaimer before I post that video because it was filmed on my iPhone, and stupidly I never tilted to landscape, so I filmed the whole conversation between me and Carrie in portrait. But it's still an interesting conversation that we had late one night while we was freaking out in the living room after hearing some weird things, and I think it's just going to be best for you guys to hear it and maybe just put up with the fact that it's in portrait mode. But oh yeah, that's it. Montauk Project. That was it. The government kidnapped like children off the streets by the thousands. And yeah, check that out, Montauk Project. It's similar to Stranger Things and kind of loosely based on that. Ghosts follow you from house to house. Don't say that. That's what Carrie said. It was a little boy found out years later. 6 months later. Are you intimidated by these happenings? So I just want to tell you this bit because there's an extra bit to this whole going on. A lot of you that have seen these lives, I normally do them outside in the garden, and you'll have seen that it's a really old farmhouse. It's a cottage. And at some point in history, to the side of our house is an abandoned school. It was at some point a school, albeit a tiny school, but that's the kind of size schools you get in these little villages. I don't know when it was last used or why it's shut or anything like that. All I know is that it joins onto the side of our house, and there's now a partitioning wall. So behind this wall here, where the TV is, behind this wall, that's just a partitioning wall. But if you was to knock that through, you're in the school, in the old school. And I was saying to Carrie, or rather Carrie was saying to me, just because they've put a wall there doesn't mean that they would have left the loft space adjoined. So that wall might be separating this house from the old school, but the crawl space in the loft in our house, I bet if you climbed in there you could get straight access to the school. They won't have put any kind of wall up there to separate them two. I highly doubt that. So if anything is come from the school, then it could quite easily just slip into this house. Or vice versa, I could literally get up into our loft and have a look, maybe drop down into the school, who knows. But I've never been up in the loft since we lived here, so I'm a bit freaked out. When we first moved in, this is another thing just to mention, when we first moved in, I slept in what is now Sophie's room, and I couldn't get to sleep. There was lots of scratching and ticking in the loft, but it was the height of summer, and there's lots of bees there. We saw lots of bees outside and stuff, so we assumed that there was a bee's nest in the loft, and we was going to have to get somebody else to come out and remove this bee's nest because they're obviously protected. As it were, we never got on to doing that, and I never slept in Sophie's room again. And the noise somehow just disappeared. Like, that noise has never been heard since. So it could have been a bee's nest, but I just don't understand why all of a sudden one day they just upped and left. So there's that to mention. Just a creepy situation. I've got some video footage, like, of the kids when they wake up and some of the things that they say. It's just really bizarre. And I know that kids all have weird dreams and talk in their sleep. I suppose we've all done it at some stage or other, but none of them really settle. Even like when I have my kids staying over, none of them really settle. I'm hoping to God that it's not haunted. It's just really weird. I don't know why my mum would have said that either, about how old is your house. I can find that out for you. I'm sure I'll just find out. I'll go ask Carrie how old the school is next door, because when we was chatting the other night, this is something we brought up, and the school goes back way back. So I'll just go find out if Carrie will be 1 second how old that school was, and that'll give you a rough idea of how old this house is. Carrie, how old was that school? Yeah. How old was the school next door? So the school was built in the 1600s, so that's quite a long time ago. 1600s, and from what we gathered, we did a quick history check, and a woman called Lady Lumley, who couldn't have children of her own at the time, put all her money into building this school. And again, like I said, I don't know why that school ever came to be closed down or not in any use anymore, but when I looked through the window the other day, it's just, there's inches and inches of dust and dirt on the floor, so that's not been used for a very long time. Funny how it's a school, and the people that seem to be having all the issues when sleeping here are the children. Maybe, I don't know what's going on there, but weird. Does anybody know how to get my monitor on without opening the laptop of my, the lid of my laptop? Let me just read some of these comments. Ben, have you heard any knocking in particular? 3 knocks at a time. Can't do that with a Mac. Knocking 3 times. We've heard knocking. We've definitely heard knocking, because a lot of the time we thought it was next door. Carrie is adamant that she's heard knocking from inside the house, but I do know that sometimes knocking does come from next door, and it does sound like it's in this house. So I'm not. I just turn the brightness right way down. What's going on here? How do that? So yeah, this figure that I saw when I bent down to pick up, I think it was like an item of clothing or something like that. I bent down quickly, picked it up off the floor, was going to head back downstairs, and just as I stood back up, I saw something just go in the corner of my eye from the bathroom through next door neighbour's wall. But obviously, when you're bending down and you're standing up, I just thought, well, that was me. That's obviously my eyes playing tricks. I've just stood up too quick. Little did I know that weeks down the line, my mum would come to me and say that she's experienced something, the kids are experiencing things, the dog's acting weird. So I don't know, was that something that I saw? Who knows? Just really creepy. Oops. There's knocked you guys over. It'll be 1 second. Sorry about this, people. I'm just determined to get this music on. Just sets the atmosphere a bit. I'm going to a concert tomorrow. Me and Junior are heading out. We're going to go to a concert, so that'll be nice. Get to see Junior for the first time in a while. I'm going to have a good chat with him about camping. Speak to him about when we're next out and what we've got planned and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys will be happy to hear that. In most cases, if you hear 3 knocks, it's something nasty mocking the Holy Trinity. Oh man, that's creepy. I'm just going to be listening out for 3 knocks constantly now. Oh, another thing. So, my middle child, Amelia, she's 4, and we were sat up late the other night in the room, and I carried her out of here because she started to fall asleep. I was going to go put her to bed, and just as I got to the living room door, I turned around and I said, "Oh, Amelia, you forgot your juice cup." So we walked back into the room. I'm carrying her in one arm. I pick up the juice cup and I take her to bed. As I put Amelia in bed, I said to her, "Where do you want your juice cup in, babe?" She said, "Oh, just put it on the headboard behind me and I'll be able to get it when I wake up through the night." So I put the juice cup on the headboard right behind her. We just literally had this conversation. I said, "Good night," kissed her on her forehead, turned around, went to leave the room. She said, "You weren't giving me my juice cup." I was like, "What? I've just given you a juice cup." She said, "You weren't, it's not on the headboard." So I was like, "Where the hell's it gone?" So I turned around and it's on the radiator behind where I just walked in. I don't ever remember putting it on the radiator. We had the conversation about putting it on the headboard. I physically just put it on the headboard. I don't understand how it got on the radiator behind me. Just little things like that, really, really weird. Like, then she started saying, "Oh, I wonder who put that there. Maybe it was Sophie." And I was just like, yeah, maybe it was, babe. Maybe it was just Sophie. God. Creepy. I'm just glad that when I have Oliver, because Oliver's my son, he's 1 year old. I'm just glad that when I have Oliver staying over, he doesn't come with one of them little baby monitors, because that would scare the hell out of me. I hate baby monitors. You hear these stories about people being able to pick up voices and seeing things that the cameras have picked up and all sorts of stuff. I just think that would really freak me out. As if baby monitors don't look creepy enough as it is anyway. I mean, they've got that night vision look to them, haven't they, with the green tint. So how is everybody spending their night tonight? Everybody excited for Halloween? It's just around the corner now. I know Halloween's going to be a big one in this household. We're going to go right up. We're going to go up the top massively. So it's my favourite time of the year, Christmas and Halloween. Hey Ben, your best way to tell if it's nasty or not is your dog. I have always used my pets as a marker for anything spooky and they've never failed me. Well, this is the thing. So the dog is obviously acting strange. She's not acting aggressive, she's not acting fearful, but she's definitely acting as in a way she knows that something's there. Like, I just told a story about how she wakes up in the middle of the night and runs over to Sophie's bedroom door and starts sniffing through the bedroom door and stuff and just sitting there for ages, not doing much of anything. It's important you're not frightened by it. Things can feed off your fear and escalate. Well, this is the thing, right? So, again, me and Carrie was talking, and sorry, I'm just going to log into my account 1 second. Me and Carrie was talking, and what we were saying is that a lot of these stories, when you hear about poltergeist activity, and I know from experience myself when I lived in a haunted house, they usually target young children. And we've got Sophie living here, she's 4, just turned 4. We've got my eldest daughter Lacey, who's 11, Amelia, who's 4, and Oliver, who's 1. They come over, then my 3 come over on weekends and stay here. So we've got a lot of young people living in the house. And obviously then there's me and Carrie, there's all this energy of people coming and going, and I just don't know, you hear these stories about people picking up on this kind of stuff. Don't you hate it when you can't remember your password to get in? Right, notes, let me bring up your notes. Time to get some music on. What was that? Sorry, I missed that message. I'll go back and read that. I can't see my messages. I don't know where they're going. I don't see it. Here we are, found the messages. Let me respond to a few of you guys. We have had strange things happen in our house. Little girl run to our room in our house and giggle. Also one night we had something heavy fall on the bed between us, turn around down. Yeah, I can relate fully to stuff like that happening. It's so scary. Like I was saying to Carrie the other night, it's just, when you've gone through it yourself as a family, or you've grown up in a house like that, it's terrifying. I still wake up now at least once a month having nightmares about the old house where I grew up. And I get that people don't believe the paranormal, I understand. But it's one of them. Until you've lived through it, you can't really have an opinion. It's just the most bizarre. If you guys want to keep messaging me, chat to me on this, I will see your messages. I am looking, I promise. I'm just trying to get some music on, so I'm not going anywhere anyway just yet, so stick around with me for a bit if you want. Can you see my little candles in the background? I've got an incense lit as well, so I've really set the mood tonight. If you can, if you're watching guys and you aren't already as well, just please remember to subscribe. And if you want to share this content with your friends, anybody that's like-minded, then please do that as well. What's this one? Junior is great. Looking forward to seeing him on your channel again. I have a little girl in my home, calls out for mommy and asks me if I can hear her. I think you have a playful ghost child visiting you. This sounds a bit cheesy. I'm not religious at all, but you can ask angels to help. I have a little girl in my home, calls out for mommy and asks me if I can hear her. Oh man, how does, I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry, Ahiza, I think it was. How does she ask you to, how does she ask you if you can hear her? Like, do you hear her voice asking you to, if you can hear you or something? Chances are it's not nasty. My current house is haunted. My dog stares at nothing, so I can see it's nothing. My mum. Right, why is my laptop just gone off? Come on. Everything's just gone off. Sorry guys, 1 second. Maybe because my laptop's not plugged in. Let me just. Can you guys see me all right? Or is it too dark? Is that better? There we are. My laptop's gone off, I can't get it on. Hey Joseph, hope you're well. So yeah, imagine this. Imagine if I crawled through the loft space into the school. How epic would that be? I guess I'd have to drop down, and the worry would be, how do I get back up from the school back into the loft? Why is my laptop gone off? Come on. We're back. I think schools, hospitals and churches can be portals or energy, can remain in those places. I agree fully. If you think about, I mean, a lot of, like I said, not UFOs, but ghosts and the paranormal, poltergeists, that type of thing, from what I've gathered, gain energy from young children, young adults going through puberty, breakups, arguments. just things like that. Anything that gives off a lot of energy is where you find these paranormal going-ons. And so you find that obviously a hospital has had a lot of energy going in and out of them doors, and so are schools. What was that message? Sorry. I went camping in Warwickshire last week, Ben, with my Labrador. There was a field of cows on a hill. I was looking out on something big black and fast ran across the hill, and they're still being about rope ladder. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like I would have to take a rope or a ladder, definitely. I've never been into the loft here. I've never looked into the loft either, so I don't know how big it is up there. I don't know if there's a lot of room to even stand up or if it's just a crawling loft. I don't know. I'd have to have a look. It looks pretty creepy. Is there a heavy atmosphere in your house, like when you walk in on someone after an argument? Definitely, 100%. Me and Carrie have both said that sitting here in the living room, just chatting, all of a sudden you can go really cold and the goosebump on your arms and the hair stand on end, and there's definitely an atmosphere. Carrie, would you be able to bring me a drink up, please? Yeah, please. Thank you. Collaborations as well, guys. If there's any channels, obviously you guys will watch a lot of other channels that's similar to mine. And if there's anyone that you like watching over and over again, and you also enjoy my content, then please spread the word while you're over there and just tell them about the 401 files. And hopefully I can get to collaborate with more people. I'm always open to collaborating and meeting new people, and trying to create the best content I can to put out for you people. So while you're over on these channels, hey bro, you alright? Not seeing you in the longest of times. Strange. Let me just find this. Login details. Still trying to get some music on. I'm really sorry about this, guys. Just stick it out with me. I'll get some on. Here we are. Sorted. Ben, I think you should do an EVP session, but be careful. Delicate something. Have you had any shadows of people walking past you on a wall? That's how it all started for us, and seeing the Grim Reaper standing in the street was the last thing as we moved. Yeah, I was just saying that I have seen like a shadowy figure move from the bathroom across the landing into next door neighbour's wall. Thank you. Cheers. Why is this not logging in? I don't understand. Ben, I think you should do an EVP session, but be careful. There was something I wanted to do, actually, talking about EVP sessions. There was an app that I saw somebody else using on one of their YouTube videos. But the only thing is, it was not for iPhone, it was for Android. And it looked like a really good app as well. A lot of these other apps I've been looking at are a bit gimmicky, a bit like for kids and stuff like that. They're not really professional, paranormal type equipment. So if anybody knows of a good app for the iPhone that is of high quality and isn't going to just be... Hey Tallulah. Hey baby. So would you guys mind if I posted the footage of me and Carrie chatting? Like I said, it is in portrait mode, not landscape, so it's all filmed on my phone. I know there's a few people out there that love quality over quantity, and so Yeah, I want to post that because it's a good conversation, but at the same time, it's really like bog standard mobile phone stuff. Shit, years ago I was playing Battlefield 3, sitting chilling with my dog. He was facing the TV. I seen a black shadow in this corner of my eye. At the same time, my dog looked at it, then back at me. That'd be freaky as hell. Ah, we're in. Got some music coming, guys. We're in. Finally. This is a website that I use for all my videos. A lot of you people ask me where I get my music for the videos, and I take a lot of time. That is one of the things that I really pride myself in, is because I think music can make a video, even if it's not the best of content, seem interesting. So this is where I get a lot of my creative music. So can you hear that all right? Don't know if you can hear that or if it's too loud. Sounds good. It's not too loud. Suzanne, is that all right? Not too loud, is it just, you can hear me okay? Tallulah one's out. So what's everybody's plans tonight? What's everybody up to? Ghost Radar didn't scare by mate. She won't sleep again, she's watching. Well, don't let her watch then. So I was, how old is your dog? So I was talking, me and Carrie, like I said, we was talking about what it could possibly be, right? And I came up with this theory that if it's targeting the children, and obviously it's an old school next door, that school's now closed down. I saw a black figure. Was it somebody working at the school that maybe did something horrible to the children, and that's why it was closed down? This person then hung himself or did whatever, or whatever, I don't know. But you start thinking all sorts of stuff. Before we knew it, we came up with loads of scenarios of who this person could be and why they would be coming through these houses when the school's next door. Carrie said that maybe it was somebody who owned the properties, because at one point or other all these houses were rented out for years and years and years, and so she thought maybe it was somebody coming back checking on their businesses, their property. I don't think it is that. Did you look up the school? Yeah, we looked up the school. A lady called Lady Lumley in the 1600s, who couldn't have children of her own, put all her life savings, all her money into buying that school. so it's a very old school, very dated. As this whole area, to be fair, this house is very dated. Have you ever been in the Screaming Woods in Pluckley? No, but everybody tells me to do that, so I'm definitely going to have to get on to doing that at some point. Because that's a big one. I keep hearing about the Screaming Woods quite a lot, so I'd love to go there at some point. I will get on to doing that, I promise. What's the name of the government project about taking children? That is Project Montauk. That's what we've just been talking about. Stranger Things, if you're watching that at the minute on Netflix, Stranger Things is loosely based on the Montauk Project. Where, just to give a brief description of what that is for anybody that's never heard of it. Sorry, I didn't say this guys. Just to give a brief description of what the Project Montauk was about. The government would abduct children off the streets. Pretty much people or children that wouldn't be missed by anybody, down and out. And they would take them into holding cells, and they would put them under the most brutal, disturbing experiments imaginable. They'd rape them, they'd beat them up, all these horrendous things. And what they was trying to do was reset the brain. They found out and they learned that if the human brain goes into so much stress, it starts to crack, and that's when people go crazy. What they wanted to do was form these cracks and then repatch them in a way that suited them, to get these children to act in a way that they wanted them to act, think in a way that they wanted them to think. So to do that, they had to first form the cracks in the brain by, like I said, subduing them to torture and all sorts of other things. They also, as well, like, they wanted to work on remote viewing. So if you watch Stranger Things, where Elle puts a bandana around her head and she basically blacks out and teleports to a different place in the world or a different dimension or whatever. Project Montauk was all about that. They wanted to learn how to be able to spy on the enemies, like the Russians during the Cold War or Hitler in World War II, stuff like that. The Montauk is crazy. That demon thing they apparently summoned is also a crazy story. It's all good, interesting music. So yeah, like I said, if you do get a chance, go on YouTube and type that in, the real Stranger Things. I'm a massive fan of Stranger Things at the minute. So, do you have the app still you use in the church EVP Echo Voc, I think it's called? I do, yeah, I still have that. Actually, that's a good point. Really good point. I might have to get that back out. It's always creepy though. Like it's one thing to go to a church or a school or a woods that's notorious for being haunted and do these things. But when you're doing it in your own house, where you have to go to sleep on the night, you have to come back on your own after shopping and things like that. I don't know. It's got a different level of eeriness to that, because I'm here all the time. I've been out recently, done a few short videos. I'm not sure if I've pulled any material from them. Me and Carrie took a trip out to, I can't remember the name now, some castle. It will come to me in a minute. No, it won't. It's gone. We went to a castle, really old castle, and I took the camera with me, did a bit of filming there. So I've still got to look through that footage and see if I can drag anything from that. We also did a day trip as well. What's this? Sorry, go. Great to see you back, mate. Keep it up. Hey, Pete. Nice to see you, buddy. Hey, Emmett. I hope you're well. So yeah, me and Carrie went out the other day, did a bit of filming. Like a lot of the films I do on this channel are going to be about UFOs. I always say this, but I have to remind people all the time. Going to be about the ghosts, going to be about the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, all these other things, the paranormal, whatever else. That's what the channel's always going to be about, and that's where they're saying the home of thought-provoking topics came from, because that's what I like to think of this channel as. But to do footage like that all the time, day in, day out, you guys would be waiting for a video once every month. I mean, I'm doing really well at the minute because I'm getting one every week out. But I also like to fit in other things that me and Carrie get up to, whether it's just walking to the beach and talking about, I don't know, thought-provoking topics about fossils or anything. and them videos will be getting fitted in between the Sasquatch, the UFOs and ghosts, always. So if you ever do see them videos pop up, where it's just me and Carrie getting out and about, talking still about thought-provoking topics, but maybe not as scary as the previous videos I've been putting up, just, you can watch them, you don't have to watch them, but they're enjoyable and some people do like them. They're never going to stop the videos that I do with ghosts and stuff, so just to give you a heads up, that's what it's about. Just read some of this message. What do you think of Paul Sinclair Shaking Tree UK Bigfoot video? I've not actually seen that. Is that a new video? Outdoor 365. Is that a new video? Paul Sinclair's a decent guy. I've never really met him in person. I've read a few of his books and I've watched some of the videos he's made with Chris Turner. I was on the phone actually the other day to Chris Turner. I'm not sure how much of this I'm allowed to speak about, but Chris offered me a role. I don't know how much I can say about this, because it's a bit, I don't really know how to explain this without giving too much away. But Chris Turner, some of you guys will know Chris Turner, and Paul Sinclair, them guys have worked together before on the Bigfoot and the Bempton Cliffs mysteries. So they want me to do some editing for a big conference that happens every year. Lots of top names approach and attend this conference, and lots of people buy tickets to go sit there and listen to these people. So they approached me and want me to do some editing for them on behalf of this conference. And yeah, I'm still looking into that at the minute. Still going to hopefully get around to doing that for them guys. I've never met Paul Sinclair. I've seen his work. Always find it interesting. I live about half an hour from Bempton Cliffs. And apparently, according to them guys, a lot of mysterious things happen at Bempton Cliffs. So I should take a drive out there at some point and see what there is out that way. Is everybody excited for Halloween? You know, one place I would love to be for Halloween, I've always said this from being a very small child, is America. Like, you guys go crazy on Halloween. I'd love that. A lot about UK Dogman. The eyes on the cliff video was freaky. UK Dogman, what the fuck? Have you ever seen that black triangle UFO? I seen it up here in Scotland back in 1996. Black UFO triangles. This is a big thing. Like, do you not find it weird? I always think this. Like, so as time moves forward and technology develops and gets better and better and better, if you look at our cars back in the 1960s to cars that we're driving around in now, like Teslas, that can pretty much drive themselves, they look a lot different in shape and style. And it's the same with the UFO phenomenon as well. I look at it a lot like that. If you look back to the first UFO sighting by Kenneth Arnold, I think that was in 1950 or something like that, the UFOs that he described were like boomerangs. And then if you look now in 2019, a lot of UFO sightings are cigar-shaped or black triangles. And so, is that just a sign that their technology is moving forward as well? Ben, you not been to Stockton? They do a great scare walk around there. I'd have to get the name of it. If you haven't been, it's well worth it. Paul, no, I've never been. They do a great, what was that? A great scare walk. Scare walk, is that like do you mean like a ghost talk kind of thing, like a sponsored, I don't know what they call them. You pay somebody and they take you around to do like a ghost talk and tell you about the history of the area, stuff like that. They used to do stuff like that in York. There's quite a lot of tour guides doing that stuff in York. Never been on one though, which is really weird, considering that I grew up in the most haunted city in Europe, so. See if any of you guys know what this music's off, this soundtrack. Some of you will, some of you won't. Like a walkthrough of a place, all being set up to scare you. Men and women dressed up in sets, music says. There's tunnels to walk through, pitch black and different light. Oh my god, I love that, but at the same time, I find it so freaky. When I was a kid again, I went to one in Scarborough, House of Terror, and that was really, really freaky. People used to chase you. They're not allowed to do that anymore, I don't believe, but do any of your kids say they are playing with imaginary friends at your house? No, they don't, and I know that's a big thing, like, for the signs of a spirit or a ghost living in your house. They say that kids do talk about imaginary friends quite a lot, and I can't really honestly say that we've seen that. They do talk to themselves, but what kids don't, like, all kids do talk to themselves, so I'll keep my eyes and ears open there just in case they do. My wife took a picture of a UFO on her phone from the kitchen window. It was round and silver. Looking, the picture last only a couple of days, and it was taken off her phone. Don't know, but it vanished. Why don't you use my voice recorder? Guys, 1 second. I just want to prove something to my brother. 1 second. He's the nice guy that lent me his voice recorder. A lot of you have seen that on Howard Forest trip when me and Junior went to Howard Forest. He used the voice recorder, and I've never really given him it back. And I'm sure that he didn't believe that I've still got it. So, Alien Covenant, English Andy, well done. Absolutely amazing soundtrack. Well done. I thought nobody would get that. Still got it, guys. It's still here, mate. I've not lost it. It's not broken. I can see why he thinks that, though, to be fair. Like, everything I do lend off people, I normally lose or break, so... Wow, I've not seen it for years. It's an old model now, so shall I just keep it? You won't want this back now. Turn this down a bit, it's a bit too overpowering. Jesus. There we are. I've been thinking today, I've been trying to write a little list. Here's my little list. Just bullet points really, to be fair. But I want to learn or understand how I can bulk create videos. I'm not going to be able to do that with the explore videos because they take a lot more time and effort. I have to get out there, I have to think about what I'm going to talk about, I have to capture the footage, come back, edit it, do all the search engine optimization so that it ranks on YouTube and tons of other stuff. So it's going to be really hard to bulk create content like that. But I'm just thinking there must be something else I can do in a day, say like blast out 5 or 6 videos that will time me over for a week until the next big explore comes around. It's just figuring out what that's going to be and how I can do that. So if you've got any ideas, guys, please feel free to share them with me. Love the hoodie. Oh yeah, it's Buzz. I was just saying earlier, I've got this light above me. I bought this from Tesco's. I don't know what the equivalent to Tesco's is in the US. Is it something like Walmart or something like that? This is good. Do live chat and net searching. Well, awesome. If you guys like these live chats in between the explores, I can do these all day long. I love doing these myself, so really easy. So yeah, I'm not sure what the US equivalent is to a Tesco's. It might be something like a Walmart. But I bought this little thing. It's like £15. And so you get the bulb with this little remote, and you can literally just change the colour. It's not working. I don't know. I can change all these different colours. I can have it on strobe. If you've got epilepsy, just turn away now. Come on. Ah, there we are. I can do it smooth. and that'll just transition through all the different lights. It's awesome. I saw a film advertised the other day that I hadn't seen for a long time. I can't wait to get around to watching it again, actually. The Fourth Kind. A few of you on here will have seen that. The Fourth Kind. It was kind of like, it had a Blair Witch approach. So, like, not finding tapes or anything like that, but the way they did it was kind of like Blair Witch, where it was amateur filmed in a way that makes you believe this could have been found footage, if that makes sense. I've just thought of something really stupid. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. So I'm doing a live. Oh, 1 second. Oh my god, that's so weird. Let me just flip this camera, watch this. So I've just gone onto my channel. And there I am. Live right now. Weird. You should watch that documentary with Roddy Piper. They Live. Roddy Piper? Was he not a wrestler? Roddy Piper? Could be wrong. If you acknowledge the presence by talking to it, it will become more intrusive if you show you are. Black Wolf, yeah. We used to do this. Me and my brother used to. I'm not sure if it was my brother actually, but we used to speak out loud, like in the old house where I used to live. We used to like ask it questions and say things like, "If there's anybody in this house, please give me 2 knocks for yes, 1 knock for no." We used to do stuff like that as kids, and looking back when you and Junior woke up and found the tree structure outside your tent, what's your thoughts on that now? Who was that? Outdoor 365. Again, like, I don't know, that could have been somebody that followed us in. If you watch that video again, me and Junior did discuss this the next day. It could have been somebody that followed us in the woods to do that. But again, that's just too far-fetched for me, because the stretch of road that we used to pull into the woods, we struggled. We went up and down it countless times trying to find a car parking space. We literally found the only one close to where we then got out and entered the woods. So I don't know where these people would have parked. That's number 1. Number 2 is they can't have followed us in through the day, because we would have seen them. We would have like following us behind as we're making our way through the woods. So they would have come through and had to have found us at night. That's number 2. Number 3 is that if they did that, they would have had to have torches, because it was pitch black in there. There's no lights, there's no towns or cities nearby. And again, if they're using torches, we would have seen them. We didn't see anything. And number 4 is, if they have come in the woods in the dark with no torches to try and find and play around with us, they must have been on their own, or 1 or 2 people at most, because any more people than that we would have definitely heard. It's the dead of night, you can hear everything for miles around you. Every little slight snap of a twig, the sound of a bird, the crumble of a leaf, you can hear it all. And so if 2 people came in the woods, then possibly we might not have heard them. But then how would 2 people manoeuvring through the woods at night with no torchlight manage to have found us and do what they did? So again, it's just all highly unlikely that it was somebody playing games. paranormal is one of them things where you gotta. Sorry, I'm stopping. I'll keep talking. Are you still planning any urban exploration day hunters with night vision? Maybe. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do some more urban exploring. It's the hardest thing you can do. I mean, like me getting to the woods, talking about the ghost, UFO, and Bigfoot is easy for me because there's so many wooded areas around here that have got history or have had experiences. People have experienced things themselves firsthand, so it's easy for me to do that. I'm not going to get arrested for doing that. Urban exploring is a bit harder. You've got security to tackle with. I have done it in the past. You've got CCTV, and you could get a criminal record, and all these other things that are going against you. However, they are my favourite type of explorations. It's just so much harder to do it. But that's not me saying I'm never going to do it again. If I'm actually in the process now, to be fair, looking at a few locations that could make great videos. So hopefully, yeah, urban exploring. I'll be back on that soon. I'll put all my money on the fact that your haunting is more real than the science fiction picture on your sweatshirt. True. There's actually, believe it or not, right? So this image on this hoodie actually has some of the anomalies that people claim why they didn't land on the moon. So some of these crosshairs are actually, even on this jumper, situated in the wrong place, so they didn't even correct it for retail. Sorry, like I was saying, yeah, the paranormal is one of them things where, unless you've lived through it, or you've been in a house and experienced things firsthand, it's very, very hard to believe, like, because we don't know what it is, and science won't touch it. So, if science won't touch it, and we don't have any idea of what it is that we're trying to describe, how do you believe in something like that? The only way you're going to believe in the paranormal is if you've lived in a house that's experienced, or you've experienced that kind of phenomenon. Had I not grown up in a house with paranormal phenomena or ghostly activity, I can imagine that I would have been a bit more skeptical. It's one of them things where you've got to experience it for yourself. Who's still here? Who's still listening? What music is that? This is... it's from Cesar Donic. C-Z-A-R Donic, D-O-N-I-C. And it's called Between Four Eyes. Between Four Eyes. No worries, buddy. No worries. He's a no worries. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm meeting up with Junior tomorrow. We're going to go listen to a live band, and it'll be nice to have a catch up and talk to him about future videos and plans that we've got for the channel. Junior's not been on the channel for a long time. So like I said before, three of the main people you're going to see on the channel time and time again is obviously myself, Junior and Carrie. We're always going to be out there making videos. With Carrie, it's going to be mainly like the wild camping side of things and talking about thought-provoking topics like the ghost, Bigfoot and stuff like that, but more family orientated, because sometimes we'll have Sophie out with us. With Junior, we're going to throw ourselves right into the deep end and try and get to some of these abandoned or creepier places like Howard Forest. Although that would be a great video to take Carrie there as well. and see what her take is on that. What's the scariest thing you've seen or felt? You would have to look it up. Hospital would be a cool next question. Paul Ferris, what is the scariest thing you've seen or felt? Okay, so there's two things that always scare the life out of me. One is when I was, I want to say about 5 years old. There was only me and my mum in the house, and my mum was about to go get in the bath. It was the end of school time, so my brother, sister would have been coming back home any time, and she didn't want to have the door open in case they just ran straight into the bathroom while she was taking a bath. So she locked the door and she said, I'm going to be getting in the bath. Do you want to sit in your bedroom, play with your toys, or do you want me to put the TV on for you downstairs? So obviously I just said, I'll sit downstairs and I'll watch TV, put cartoons on for me or whatever it is. And so my mum got in the bath, I was sat downstairs watching TV, and after about 5 or 10 minutes of watching TV, I decided that I want to go upstairs now and play with my toys, as every kid does, changes their mind last minute. And so it was the old style TVs that we used to have. A lot of you guys will remember these TVs. You used to press the power button, and instead of the TV just going instantly black, it would kind of speckle out. It was like white noise. All these black and white speckles would appear on the screen until eventually it faded out to nothing. So I jumped off the sofa and I bent down and pressed the power button, and I'm watching these speckles, this noise on the screen. And eventually it did go black, completely black. And I noticed that some of the speckles hadn't moved on the TV. So I'm sat there on my knees, looking and staring into this TV, thinking, is it broke? Like, why is the TV not turned off? And then I realised that there wasn't speckles at all. It wasn't white noise at all. It was something in the reflection of the TV stood behind me at the living room door. And so I maintained eye contact the whole time with this thing in the TV. I never at no point looked directly at it. So say the object was over here, I never looked like that. I just carried on looking at it through the reflection, and I moved back. I sat back on the chair and I continued to watch this thing stood at the door off to the side of me. After about 2 minutes of watching this thing shimmer like a heat wave on the road, is the only way I can explain it. It looked like an upright heat wave just shimmering at the door like this and glowing white. I noticed that it was starting to move closer towards me, and it got so close at some point that I thought I'm going to have a look at what this is. So as I snapped my head to have a look directly at this thing, it just flew straight up into my face. I scrambled up the back of the sofa, kicked all the cushions all over the floor, tried to scream but nothing would come out, and the worst fear you can ever imagine. You hear these stories about people that say, I tried to scream but nothing would come out. Well, that is exactly what I experienced. I tried to scream, nothing would come out. I was up the back of the sofa, kicking all the cushions off in a complete state of terror. I ran around the other sofa, through the living room door, managed to scramble myself upstairs and started to bray on the bathroom door. And that's when my mum came out, asked me what was going on, and I still at this point really couldn't speak. I was just terrified. I don't know what that was, what floated across the living room floor up into my face, but I'll never forget that. That's number one. Number two story that really scares me is something that didn't happen to me personally, but it happened to my dad. And I just think about this story quite a lot, and I think this has got to be one of the scariest things to happen to somebody. And if it happened to me, I'd be petrified. So my mum and dad was going through a divorce at this point, and my dad was living in the house by himself. I'm not sure where me and my brother and sister had moved. I think they had their own place and I was living with my mum somewhere. All I know is at this point my dad had the house to himself. He said that he'd gone to bed one night and he'd locked all the windows, all the doors, he'd done the last minute checks, and he'd just had new carpet laid in the house. And you know what it's like when you have new laid carpet, trying to open the doors, sometimes it's difficult, like it brushes against the carpet. And so he'd gone around the house, like I said, he'd checked the windows, locked all the doors, put his head down for the night, climbed into bed. And after lying there for about 10-15 minutes trying to drift off, he heard the bedroom door push against the newly laid carpet. It's a very distinctive sound, you'll have all heard that at some point or other. You can't mistake it. The bedroom door pushed against the carpet and his eyes instantly instantly knew that somebody was in the house. At this point he's not thinking ghosts, he's not thinking paranormal, he's thinking someone's broken in. And so he lies there looking at the wall, too scared to turn around and see what is actually stood at the door. He then hears the pressure of footsteps being applied to the carpet come down the side of his bed and stop roughly in line with where his head is. While all this is happening, my dad's still looking at the bedroom wall, too frightened to turn over and have a look who stood there at the foot of the bed. So what he did was just basically lay there all night until the sun came up through the window. And he said that when he got up, when the sun eventually did come through the window, it was morning. He'd not slept all night. He looked at the bedroom door, and he knew 100% that he'd closed it, and it was now wide open. So what it was that came in that bedroom that night, and what was stood at the foot of his bed, he doesn't know. But that to me terrifies me. Like, it's the what if. What if he'd have turned around? What would he have seen? Like, and the sound of the door pushing against the carpet when you know you're the only person in the house must have been terrifying. So they're the two things. Hope they wasn't long-winded. I tried my best, but I had to paint a story for you guys to get a realisation of how severe they were. What town do you live in so I can look up the school if you don't mind? Hi Suzanne, I live in a place called Thornley Dale. It's classed as Pickering. Really old place. Do you think some people can see things and some can't? Heard stories and seen things myself. The world is crazy. Noodles 1984, I definitely agree with that. Like, I do believe that certain people are more open or more susceptible to seeing these things. Why that is, I don't know. I don't have any idea of how it works. I just think that some people are more gifted in seeing these things. Children especially, animals 100%. It's normally, believe it or not, children who are experiencing puberty. You'll always find pre-teenage girls or boys experience a lot of paranormal activity for some strange reason. People who live in broken homes where their parents are constantly arguing backwards and forwards will experience paranormal activity. It's almost like whatever it is that these things are latching on to the energy that's given off by the change or these people. So yeah, look out for that. Preteens going through puberty, or people who live in a volatile household where there's a lot of people coming in and out all the time, a lot of arguing happening. These are places that paranormal activity happens the most. Everyone has abilities, I believe that, but I think that some people are more susceptible than others. Some people are just another thing. Some people are just so stubborn and stuck in their ways that it doesn't matter if they saw a ghost or not, or something unexplainable. They'd still say it's not a ghost. It can be proven by science, and to some degree I agree. But some choose to believe and see things. Some choose not to believe and will never see anything. That's so true, and I've met people like that in my life. I used to work with a guy years ago, and I actually said to him one time in a conversation, I said, well, if a ghost just walked through that wall right now, stepped right in front of you, and then vanished through that wall there, would you still not believe? And he said, no, I wouldn't believe. And I couldn't get my head around this. I said, how would you not believe? If it walks through that wall in front of you, stops in front of you, and you physically see it vanish off through that wall, how can you still deny? And he said, because I think that would be able to, I think it would be provable by science, just maybe not yet. And how can you argue with that? Because that's right, and for everything. You can say that about anything. I can't hear them, feel them. I can hear them, feel them, and sometimes see them. I can definitely feel them. I've been quite accurate with that in the past, being able to feel spirits in certain houses, certain locations. I can't hear them. I can hear bangs, obviously, the usual stuff, things moving, the potential footsteps. I've never heard voices, thank God. I do know people that have had their name mentioned, or they've heard their name being called, stuff like that. Thank God that that's never happened to me. But I do feel like I'm quite gifted when it comes to sensing or picking up on atmospheres. Hey Ben, I've never seen a ghost, although my house is really old. You okay? Hey Roger, yeah, I'm fine, mate. I'm good. Just chatting tonight with you, lovely people. Trying to talk about a few things that have been happening in this house, and just enjoying some creepy music. It's the run up to Halloween now, guys, not long. 2 more months and we're there. Another misconception as well is that people believe, and you've heard me say it tonight, even on this live chat, is that I live in an old farmhouse or an old whatever this used to be, old cottage. But old doesn't always mean haunted. Sometimes new builds, houses that haven't even been up for maybe more than 5 years, can be really haunted. And it's not always about the house, but more about the foundations. So it might be that them new build houses that have only been standing for 5 years are stood on ancient ground where a battle took place hundreds of years ago and many, many people died. You never know. So old doesn't always mean haunted. I grew up in a broken home, total crazy, had my t-shirt pulled and seen some weird things as a teenager. Heard my mum shout on me when she didn't. New Rules 1984. I can relate to that exactly. This is something I said as well at the start of this live chat, is that I've fallen asleep on this sofa behind me and I could have sworn that I've heard Carrie come in and say, "I'm back," and I've shot up, I've ran to the landing and I've headed downstairs to help her in with the shopping, and she's not even there, the door's not been open, the dog's still asleep on the sofa. But yeah, I could have sworn that I heard her say that. Even when I've not been asleep, there's been times when I've been walking around the house and I've just thought I've heard people shout my name and I've shouted, "Yeah," or "What?" and nobody there. Carrie's also reported hearing the same as well, like people, footsteps walking on. What is a ghost then? Does it mean it can pass to the other side? It can't pass to the other side. Hey Kevin, hope you're well. Kevin Worrell. What is a ghost? What is a ghost then? Does it mean it can't pass to the other side? So this is another thing. So there's many different, first of all, nobody's ever going to know 100%. So you're entitled to your own interpretation of what I'm about to say. But we have this idea that there's another side, that when we die, we go somewhere else. And one of the beliefs is that some people who have still things they've yet to do in life, or they die too soon and never got to say bye to that one special person, can't make it to the other side, wherever that may be, heaven, hell, whatever. And so they become stuck in a limbo world where they try and communicate with people still alive until they've met that goal. They try and give people signs to say, "Look, I'm still here, I'm fine, I'm okay." And maybe that's all it takes for them to move on to the other side. Where the other side is, heaven, hell, I don't know. Do I believe there is another side? I do. I do believe there is another side. I believe that when we die, that is not the end. I think that once we pass on, that is exactly what we're doing. We're passing on to another dimension, another realm, whatever you want to call that. I just don't think that life is the end. It scares me not because of the heaven and hell scenario. I do think about that. I do worry, if there is a hell, will I go there? If there's a heaven, will I not make it in? Obviously, these are normal things that people do think about. What worries me more, though, is that I think, when I die, will I then will this then start again? Everything here, will this all start again? But yeah, I forget all my old life and I'm born into a new family where I have new friends and stuff and I start again. That to me is more scary. And sometimes we hear about these stories, like children that can remember past lives, have been a soldier who died in war and things like that, and they've now been born to a completely different family in a different part of the world, but yeah, they have all these memories of their previous life many, many, many miles away from where they live now. That to me is scary. I don't want to start again. I don't want a new family. I don't want new friends. I don't want to forget everything that's happening to me right now. That would be scary to me. Because how many times would that happen? How many times would you die and start over again? And what is the aim of that? Is that to teach you a lesson? Is that till you can live out your life in the correct way, and you're not allowed to pass on from that until you've done that? Because I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just gonna say that people have been here before. That was from Kevin Worrell. Yeah, exactly, Kevin. So children, we hear about these stories all the time where little kids, one of the most famous stories that I heard was, there was a young child, he claimed he was in the Civil War, as a soldier and he was shot. He gave a name, he gave a date and time of where he died and what regiment he was in. This is a young child that should have no experience or knowledge of the Civil War. He was far too young. I think he was about 4 or 5 years old. But it gets better than that. As these historians started to pick his brain and ask him questions to find, he was so in tune and correct with his details of the attire they were wearing, the rifle he was firing, the attack he was on, and all this kind of stuff. But then he mentioned that he even knows where he was buried. And this obviously set alarm bells ringing, because if he could prove this undeniably proves that, like, something weird is going on. And so he took these people to a graveyard and he said, I'm buried in this graveyard, my gravestone's not being looked after, I can show you where it is. And so they went there looking for this name, totally different name to what this boy was called at this time, and they couldn't find it. And then just before they were about to leave, tucked behind a load of ivy next to a wall, broken down, beaten up, was a gravestone with this soldier's name on that this little boy claimed he once was. And so how does that come to be? How did that little boy know there was a gravestone there behind all this ivy? It looked like it had never been attended to for years and years and years and completely forgotten about, but yet he knew the name on this gravestone. He said it was him and he died in the Civil War, and just stuff like that blows my mind completely. Outdoor 365, this is from, what are your thoughts on Todd standing, and why do you think Les Stroud changed his mind about Sasquatch so dramatically when he was such a skeptic? I've seen quite a bit of work from Les Stroud, and this is gonna not sit well with a few of you guys, but I'm not a massive fan. To me, Les Stroud is an entertainer. He's all about making entertainment for TV. And sometimes when ratings drop or people aren't viewing stuff, you find that these kind of people throw things in there to make stuff happen. I'm not saying that Les Stroud has done that. I just believe that a lot of what he sees or comes across is glorified or dramatized in some way to attract an audience. What about, this is from Noodles 1984 again. What about birthmarks? They say that's how you died. Mine on the back of my head like a gunshot. Yeah, that's another thing. So these children that do experience these past lives have often said that their cause of death, whether it be a stab wound or a bullet wound in some war, is often where the birthmarks are in this life. And so people think that birthmarks are a sign of your trauma that led to death in a previous life. Again, very interesting stuff. Emmett Roche, Emmett, I can't pronounce his surname, sorry about that. We'll just call it Emmett. Hell was made up by the Catholic Church to make people God-fearing. Yeah, this is another great thing that people talk about, is that religion itself was created by man to keep people in check. When you've got when people start expanding and you're trying to contain rule and order, how do you do that? Well, one of the ways is if you tell people that there's a man sat on a cloud somewhere that's looking down, he's all-seeing, all-knowing, and if you do wrong or you break any of these rules on this list, you're going to be punished not only in this life but for eternity in another life. Chances are people are going to keep in line. And so yeah, people do say that religion was created to control the masses. I wish there was some way that I could figure out who is still on this chat right now. I can only see who's here when you guys message. It'd be nice to see actually who just sat back listening, so I can talk to a few of you. Is there a way of doing that? I'm not too sure. So would you guys prefer to see these then, the live videos like this, if I maybe set up this camera every other night and have a chat with you guys about certain things, just like we had tonight, a really candid, laid back chat? Would you guys like to see this in between the videos, or would you like me to do something else? Either way, I just want to be posting frequently before my explore videos. 23 people listening. So what do we all think is going to happen on the raid Area 51? I did something really funny the other day. So I mentioned at the start of this live that me and Carrie had gone to a castle. We've gone to Bamborough Castle. I remembered it. Bamborough Castle. Really lovely place. A lot of history. We went there, and they had one of these tassely doors. Like, this wasn't part of the history of the castle. This was like an outbuilding, like a... I don't know what it was in there, but it wasn't part of the castle. And you know the tassel doors, like barber doors, they usually have them in like barber shops where it's just tassels that come from the door down to the floor. I walked through there and I was like, I said to Carrie, when you're raiding Area 51, and I was brushed through these things. That's kind of how people imagine it is going to be. Like, they think they're just going to walk into Area 51 and it'd be as easy as walking through tassel doors. We're in, let's go! He's a vlogs. She says these are nice. Love the outdoor videos. Yeah, like I always said, guys, you've got to remember the outdoor videos are always going to happen. I promise you, I'm never going to stop doing that. There's two main foundational videos to this channel. It's the wild camping and the thought-provoking stuff. And thought-provoking can cover anything. Like I said, it could be me and Carrie on a camp with Sophie and we're just getting out there, and it could be something as simple as alternate living. So basically the way Carrie brings up Sophie is she spends a lot of time barefoot in the woods, doing all this kind of stuff, getting one with nature. And that's thought-provoking because not everybody lives like that. A lot of you people like to see that, like the other side to me and this channel, being out camping as a family and all this kind of stuff. Them videos are never going to replace the scary videos, and the scary videos are never going to replace them videos. It's joint, and I just like to think that you guys just like sitting back and coming along the journey with me and seeing what I've been up to and stuff. It's always nice to keep in touch. I love that I'm able to do that. So Area 51 will happen. I think the army will stop anything. Yeah, do them all, Ben. Yeah, cheers, Emmett. Thank you. Like, that's what I'm saying. So please, I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I missed the outdoor videos, or I missed the wild camping, or I missed the scary videos." It's just one collective channel for all that. Like I said, the foundations to this channel are the wild camping and the scary stuff. That will happen all the time. So please don't ever worry. They're always going to be there. They're always going to be coming. Never going to happen. Yeah. So Area 51. It's funny. Did you hear the conspiracy about that as well? That was interesting. So I heard on Facebook that some guy who has a band, apparently, staged the whole Area 51 thing in order to get a massive crowd to the desert where his band is going to be playing. That would be ingenious. Like, so he's not only got all these people turning up to a location where nothing is going to happen, so they're all going to be stood there doing nothing anyway. And so, hang on a second, there's a band playing. Why don't we just all listen to this band for a bit? We're all here anyway. That's a great, like, promotional, what's the word? I don't know, but you guys know what I'm on about. Why would people build pyramids or such like on every continent that are all kind of the same, around the same time, but never met each other? Why, if it wasn't alien from space? Outdoor 365. Okay, so Outdoor 365 is saying, why would people basically build pyramid shapes as their go-to building? on different continents, when at this point in time people wasn't even travelling from continent to continent, so nobody's told them, oh look, a pyramid's the best way to go, but yet everybody was doing it. That's his question. So this is something that's always fascinated me, and it goes deeper than that. Like, people wasn't just building pyramids, like people were building pyramids with the same dimensions. That's crazy. So I mean, if a pyramid is the strongest kind of foundation or formation to build a house or a structure, you would get there through a process of elimination. You'd start off by building a hut, the hut would get blown away. You'd start off by building some other form of building that would get wrecked in a storm, or it wouldn't keep its heat, maintain the heat. So you'd build a pyramid and eventually you would get there. And I suppose we could say, at a stretch, everybody did this process of elimination. Highly unlikely, I don't believe that, but we could just say, at a stretch, that's what happened. But then what we say is, okay, so that's fine, but then why would they use the same dimensions? Why is the Great Pyramid of the Mayans exactly the same, within an inch, I believe, as the Great Pyramid of Giza? It makes no sense. If you was to lift the Great Pyramid of Giza up and move it all the way over to Mexico and drop it in the Sun Pyramid, what the Mayans built, it's exactly within an inch of each corner, the same dimensions. Who was flying around, who was travelling, giving everybody these instructions to build pyramid-shaped buildings with the same measurements? It makes no sense. Kevin Worrell says, have you heard of the murals that were in Denver Airport, the end of the world, and that's supposed to be art but must have another meaning? Kevin, yeah, I have. I've heard about that. So in Denver Airport, there's a lot of untoward artwork that is just so out of character, out of place, hung up on the walls in a public airport. Thousands and thousands of people go to this airport to travel on work purposes or to meet loved ones, family, whatever. And yet you would expect nice pictures of people laid on a beach and these other destinations where people have flown from, but no, what you see is the end of the world and all these other things. It's just really bizarre to have artwork hung like that in an airport. And the whole layout of the airport, I believe, as well, is satanic. It's based on some kind of satanic shape. When you look at it from an aerial view, I think it might be a hexagram or something like that, I'm not sure, but that's kind of the gist of it. Look that up if you get a chance on YouTube, the Denver Airport Conspiracy. Black Wolf, you are very knowledgeable on this subject. What you are saying is very true, and if you set up an infrared camera on your live chat while sat in the dark, we may witness an orb or something more. It's very true, I might have to do that. I said it before, guys, earlier on in this video, and I'll say it again. If you do venture off across YouTube, which I'm sure a lot of you do, and you're into other people's channels that talk about similar topics as I do, while you're over there, please just drop a little queue for 401 files. I'm trying to grow this channel as best I can. I'm putting a lot of time and effort, and I love talking to you guys. I've got the best audience I could ever wish for, but I just need a helping hand in trying to make this thing grow. And you guys are the best people to help me do that. So if you can, just spread the word wherever you can. Share it on social media, subscribe, tell like-minded friends and family. Whatever it is you can do to help, please, honestly, I'll be much appreciated. It's not always easy trying to grow these things, and like I said, sometimes people just don't realise how much work goes into these things. I love doing it, I'll never stop doing it regardless, but it's just always nice to expand and reach more people that are like-minded like ourselves. So, yeah, so sorry, who was that who said that? Kevin Worrell again. So, Kevin, yeah, you say that you think that triangles are secret Air Force craft, and this is something that gets mentioned quite a lot. So Kevin's saying that triangular craft could be secret Air Force craft, and I don't deny that in any way, shape or form. There's a lot of craft that's so under wraps, above top secret, that we would never know what kind of shape it's supposed to be. It could be a flying circle, and yet it could be well within the realms of normality. It's just that we've never seen it before. It's been under wraps for that long. That it's been really protected. However, there's certain occasions where I think that we have to rule out it being a craft from any kind of Air Force. For example, when an aircraft is moving at high rates of speed that would obliterate the human body, when the G-forces experienced from acceleration would just tear the human body in half. These are things, or the aircraft is so small, like a lot of people witness seeing small tiny silver orbs moving controllably through trees in woodlands and forests, and they're no bigger than this. You can't fit a human in that, so we've got to say that that isn't some kind of secret plane from any Air Force. The triangles, I agree, a lot of people see triangles. I think it's the B-12, is it B-12 bomber or something like that? That's a stealth bomber. That's based on a triangular shape. Before that was created, or before that was invented and ever took flight, the traditional means of flight was always 2 wings, a tail, a rudder. And all of a sudden we see this B-12 bomber and it has no visible wings. Of course it has protruding wings, but there's no tail, there's no rudder or anything. It's kind of just all one shape, and that is a triangular shape. Now I would ask, where did they get that design from? How did they make such a leap? If we look at the evolution of cars have always had 4 wheels. Even back from when the first, when the Ford was on the road, the first Ford, it still had 4 wheels. And cars now have way surpassed that in technology, design, and statistics. They can go a lot faster and travel further and all this kind of stuff, but they've still got 4 wheels. That's the main gist of a car. If all of a sudden a car turned up on the road tomorrow and it had no wheels and it was completely flat and they said, oh, this is a car, I'd be asking questions as to where they got that design from, because that's not been the normal path of evolution for a car. And so that's what I say when I see the B-12 bomber. You look at the planes before that, a lot of them had wings. There's a few areas where planes did differ. So the Bell project in World War II, Adolf Hitler was working on a plane called the Bell. It wasn't a plane as such, it was like a bell. It was shaped like a bell and they tried to make it fly. This was top secret, but again I would say the same thing. Where did he get the idea from? Because the normal evolution of flight has always been a rudder with a tail and 2 wings. So I don't understand how all of a sudden we jump from that to a triangle with no wings, no tail or rudder, just a cockpit in that shape. Strange. So Noodles 1984 says, I heard they're supposed to have drones the size of a wasp now. What the F? And what about the cloaking technology, that vid from years ago where the soldier is crazy? So yeah, I know what you're on about. There was I think it was some kind of Iraq footage from a tank where some soldiers dismounted the tanks and went onto the ground, some infantry soldiers, and basically became invisible, as if they were wearing some kind of cloaking device like you've seen in Harry Potter. He puts the cloak on, he just completely goes invisible. This was a similar kind of footage that was released years ago, where these soldiers jumped off the side of these tanks and just vanished. I believe they do definitely have stuff like that now. I remember years ago seeing on YouTube some kind of Chinese scientist or something like that, and he was working in a lab with cameras. He had cameras that projected or that bent the light or something like that, bent the light around the human body, because basically all light does is show us the shape of something. If you turn off the light, there is nothing in this room. You turn on the light hits off things and we see the shadows and the light, the reflections, and that's what creates shape. Well, this guy learned how to bend light around the human body, so you would see things behind him, but not actually his figure, and it was basically an invisibility cloak. So I definitely believe we do have stuff like that now. Yeah, I mean, meant to have suit me. Yeah, these drones can. So Kevin again says these drones can mimic the sky they're in. I'm gonna tell you a little something that fascinated me the other day. I was listening to Elon Musk. A lot of you know that I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, and something he said scared the life out of me. And it scared the life out of me because it's so simple to do. He said that it wouldn't take a lot to make a fleet of killer drones. If you look at the iPhone, it's got facial recognition. It's very simple, basic technology. It's new technology, but it's very basic. He said that if you grab the drone and you installed the software of facial recognition so that that drone would look for a face in a crowd, you could potentially fly that drone into a football game where there's some kind of member of royal family sat in the audience, or some celebrity sat in the audience, and the drone would fly around until it picked up the face using facial recognition. As soon as it picks up the face, it will fly over to this person and detonate, killing them instantly. Now, that sounds brutal and it sounds horrific, but it sounds doable. It sounds like that would be not too much of a task for somebody with a bit of knowledge to do. I never thought about it like that until Elon Musk said it in an interview the other day. You wouldn't even need to be there, would you? Like, if you was that person, if you was the hitman, you wouldn't even need to be there. You just set your drone off in the vicinity, it scans around till it picks up the face you've installed, and then it detonates. That's just such a crazy idea. What time are we on now, guys? Because I'm going to call it a night very, very soon. So we're on 9:30. I'm going to go in about the next 5-10 minutes. The flying bell, or Die Glocke, went missing from Germany, then supposed to have fell from the sky in Pennsylvania in the 70s. It's fascinating. I need to look more into that, actually. I do know roughly the basics of that story, the Bell Project, but I need to look more into it. I'm going to call it a night, guys, because I'm going to watch Stranger Things now with Carrie. We're pretty much right to the end now, so we've got one more episode, I think, 1 or 2 more episodes to watch, then we're done. So I'm going to call it a night, and yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this live. I'll carry on doing them. Now I know that this is what you guys like to see. Like I said, don't worry about the explore videos. They're always going to be coming. But yeah. Until next time, guys, look after yourselves. Take it easy. If you can and you're in a position to do so, look after somebody else as well. Remember, like I always say, please spread the word. Drop down in the box below. Leave comments to each other if you want while I'm gone. Go back and watch some of my older videos. And please, like I always say, spread the word. It's always much appreciated. That's one thing I will say from me, is I appreciate absolutely everything that you guys do, whether it be a comment, a thumbs up, or even sharing a link. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.